Hello everyone and welcome back to the pond. My name is Frank, aka Bullfrog TCG, and today we are taking a look at LUCIAN. So LUCIAN is a deck that can be built in different ways. This is just one of the versions or one of the ways you can build him. And he's in the same colors as Volibear in body and fury. But even though he's in the same colors as Volibear, even though you might have the Volibear deck already, you don't necessarily have any of the pieces that goes into this deck because they're very different decks. They play very differently, which I think is fun, considering they're like the only two legends we currently have in those colors. But before we get into the deck list, if you enjoy these videos and want to see more from me, then please take the time to leave a like and subscribe. It really helps us support the channel, and I will be forever grateful. So, LUCIAN Purifier, as I said, is a legend in Fury and Body, and he says your equipment each give Assault. So just by looking at that ability, you can tell that this is going to be a very aggressive deck, or a deck that really relies on attacking. And that is exactly correct. We definitely prefer attacking over holding, and we have some tools to kind of make us less vulnerable to being attacked back, but we're going to get to that. So, with the LUCIAN Legend, we are of course running a LUCIAN Champion, and we had decided to go for LUCIAN Merciless this time. So 3 energy, 3 might for a body champion that has Weapon Master, and the first time I conquer each turn, ready me. So this is a really good champion to have in the champion zone because you can keep attacking and then just move him back again with this ability. So you kind of get all the benefits from like the assault, for example, and all that, but then you still manage to like keep him safe in the base, so he doesn't just die on the backswing. And the fact that it doesn't cost a power makes him really comfortable to just play out on turn 1 if you're going second. The Weapon Master doesn't really come up that often, I feel like, because since he doesn't enter ready, I usually find myself playing him out before I play out my gears. So, I mean, the Weapon Master doesn't really come up, at least not with the champion unit. Like, we have another copy in the deck, and that one might get the Weapon Master off a lot more. But okay, so we are running 3 Powder Poro, a really good one drop to just get up there, and it has deflect, so it's a bit annoying for your opponent to deal with if they can't remove him by combat. And then we're playing 3 Gem Jammer, 2 energy, 2 might. When you play me, give unit ganking this turn. So this is a really nice card to use with LUCIAN, because that means that we can take both battlefields with 1 unit in the same turn, which is nice. And then we're playing 3 First Mate. This is just a really good card to, I mean, of course in that scenario, if you play the Gem Jammer, then we can also use the First Mate to actually be able to take both battlefields and then still move the LUCIAN back. And then First Mate is just a good card with any of the other units as well, if we need something to enter ready, or if we need something to be moved back so it doesn't get attacked into. Yeah, that's a really, really good card. And then we're playing, as I said, 1 more LUCIAN in the main deck, because he is a very important unit in the deck, and if we lose our only copy, that is setting us back quite a bit. And then we're playing 2 of the other LUCIAN, the LUCIAN Gunslinger. So 3 energy, 2 might, assault, and when I attack, deal damage equal to my assault to an enemy unit here. So this really benefits off the legend ability, where each equipment gives you assault, and at least with one of the equipments, this can get pretty big pretty quickly. This ability doesn't really do that much if you're only attacking into 1 unit, because if that unit survives, it's most likely just going to die itself on the backswing, but it does mean that you can trade into a lot bigger units that you otherwise would have if you didn't have this attack ability. It's really good if you're attacking into a battlefield with multiple units, because then you can kind of just shoot off the biggest units and then hopefully just trade over everything else. So yeah, and then we're playing the 3 of Kai'Sa. I mean, we all know what Kai'Sa does. She's just an incredible card, just a really good consistency card for red. Comes in ready, draws a card, so she replaces herself right away. I mean, we don't really have to get into Kai'Sa, we all know what she does. So yeah, 3 of. And then we're playing 3 LUCIAN, then we're playing 3 Draven, Vanquisher, 4 energy, 4 might. When I win a combat, play a gold gear token exhausted, and when I attack or defend, you may pay 1 fury power. If you do, give me +2 might this turn. This is also just a really, really good card in red that we got from Spirit Forged. It doesn't enter ready, so it does need a round to kind of get working. But when you actually have this at a battlefield, it's so annoying for your opponent to deal with. And then it also has the added benefit of if it wins a combat, you just get gold. And gold is always welcome, because this deck can get quite power hungry. So just having the Draven to like mitigate some of that is really nice. And then we're playing 1 Ruin Runner. Now this card will make a lot more sense when we look at the gears that you can probably already see at the screen. But this is 6 energy, 5 might. I can't be chosen by enemy spells and abilities. So if you've ever played Magic the Gathering, there is a deck called Bogles that kind of had these small little weenie units that couldn't be targeted, and then you kind of just put all of these equipments on them, and then they became huge, couldn't be targeted, and then yeah, they were just really annoying to deal with. This ability is really good, and I wanted to try them out because of the gears that I'm going to get to. But after trying this, because I was playing it as a 3-of first, and after testing the deck for a while, I just found that this is a bit too slow at 6 energy. It's a bit too slow for what the rest of the deck kind of tries to do. So I think it's a sweet card, but I think running it as a 1-of, I mean, honestly at this point this could probably be something else. But I just feel like this card is such a sick card, and I want to have at least one of them, just in case I get it out and I can actually use it to its full potential. So yeah, really fun card. Okay, let's take a look at the spells. We're running 2 Cleave. I mean, Cleave is just a good card in general to be able to trade over a lot of our opponent's stuff. And then also it synergizes really nicely with the Gunslinger, because then that is just going to pump the Lucian ability as well. And then we're playing 2 Punch first. 1 energy, 2 power, action, give unit plus 5 might this turn. This is arguably one of the best cards that came out in Spirit Forged. At least in body. Like, this card is insane. For 1 energy, keeping 1 energy up and being able to give something plus 5 might is incredible. It does cost 2 power, and as I said, this deck can get a bit power hungry, so I don't want to run it as a 3-of, but I mean, as a 2-of, this is just an incredible card. And then we're playing 3 Piercing Light, 2 energy, 1 power, repeat 2 energy and a power, and then deal 2 to a unit at a battlefield, then deal 2 to up to 1 other unit. So this is kind of like the baby Falling Star. It does have to have one of the damage instances target at a battlefield, and then the other one you can target anywhere, but it has to be at another unit. So it's a lot less flexible than Falling Star in that way, but I do like this over the Falling Star in the main deck, just because it doesn't cost 2 power, and a lot of the threats you want to remove with this are going to be 2 might. So for example, the Overzealous Fans or the Treasure Hunters and stuff like that, and like Poros. So this does hit a lot of that stuff. And then if we need the extra oomph, we can still just repeat it and then deal 4 to stuff instead. So it is very flexible in some sense, and then it's not very flexible in another way. But I think running this on the main deck feels a lot better than running the Falling Star. And then for the final one, we're running the Relentless Pursuit, the Illusion signature spell. So 2 energy and a power, action, move a friendly unit. You may attach an equipment with the same controller to it. This turn, that unit has, when I conquer, you may move me to my base. So this signature spell is incredible. Because what it allows you to do is that you can attack into a battlefield and then not move back. Like for example with the Lucian, if you want to play the Gem Jammer on the Lucian, use him to take both battlefields and then just sit there. And then when your opponent tries to attack into you can just use the Relentless Pursuit, conquer the other battlefield, get another point on your opponent's turn, and then if you want to, you can just move the Lucian back again to just keep him safe. So this card is just incredible. For 2 energy and 1 power, the flexibility that this card gives you is just so good. And then the fact that you can equip an equipment to it as well just gives it that extra kind of cherry on top for this card. Like, this card would be so good even if it didn't do that. But just having that as well just makes this so good. Yeah, definitely a 3-of. But okay, let's take a look at the gears. So we have 3 Serrated Dirk, 1 energy, equip is 1 fury power. It doesn't give any plus might, but it gives assault 2. So I mean, the obvious reason we're running this is of course the Illusion Gunslinger champion, but then also it just works with every other card in the deck, because as I said, we do want to attack rather than defend, and giving assault 2 and then with the legend ability that is going to be assault 3 for 1 energy is really good. So this just kind of becomes like a permanent cleave that costs a power instead of an energy. So yeah, this is a really solid card in the deck. And then we're playing 2 Longsword. I mean, we all know how much I like this one. Just a flash or reaction speed equipment that you can equip to something to give it plus 2 might. So it's kind of like a red discipline in a sense. And then for the final 2 gears, we are playing 2 Skyfall of Arian, 3 energy, equip is 1 energy and a power. So it's very expensive to equip. It gives plus 2 might, and it says my hold effects are also conquer effects, and vice versa. And then the other equipment we have is Trinity Force, 4 energy, gives plus 2 might, equip is 1 body power, and when I hold, score 1 point. So this combination makes it so that you get 2 points for conquering and 2 points for holding, which is quite insane. So that was kind of the idea I was going for, is to get the Skyfall and the Trinity Force on the Rune Runner. So then it's just going to be a unit that is really hard to take care of, and then it's going to, like, every time he holds, it's going to get 2 points, and then every time he conquers, it's also going to get 2 points. The Skyfall also has synergy with the Kai'Sa, because that means that the Kai'Sa is going to draw a card and hold as well. And I mean, like, a lot of the cards in the game are worded like, if you conquer after a combat or after a showdown, you get this effect. So this Skyfall doesn't synergize with a lot of the conquest effect we have in the game. So for example, it's not going to work with the Tryndamere, for example. It's not going to work with the Draven, because that doesn't say conquer, it just says win in combat, so that doesn't do anything. And then I mean, it doesn't really do anything for the Lucian as well, because it is readies, and I mean, we're ready at the start of our turn anyways. So yeah, but I mean, this combination is really funny. If you can get both these two on one unit, then you're just gonna, like, every attack is gonna get 2 points. And that means that you can be on 7 points, have no control of any of the battlefields, but then if you can just conquer one of those battlefields, then you're going to win, because you're going to get an extra point from the Trinity Force. I mean, I guess from the Skyfall, but also the Trinity Force. So this combination is really funny. Okay, and for the battlefields, we are running the Arena's Greatest, just to make the game last a bit shorter. We are an aggressive deck after all, and just, you know, getting that extra point just makes our job a lot easier. We're playing the Paper Tree, one of my new favorite battlefields from the second set. When you hold here, each player channels 1 rune exhausted. So I mean, we don't really care about our opponents conquering, like holding this, because we're also going to get the rune, so we're happy either way. And then we're running 1 Treasure Hoard. When you conquer here, you may pay 1 energy to play Gold Gear Token Exhausted. As I said, we do get quite power hungry if we like keep having to re-equip all these gears, and then we also have to play the gears out, and you know, it just gets expensive after a while. And then just mitigating some of that by getting gold is just really nice. And then for the runes, we're just playing a 6-6 split. For the sideboard, we are playing 3 Sabotage to take a look at our opponent's hand to get rid of the most important piece in their game plan. We're playing 3 Falling Star in case we need an upgrade to the Piercing Light we have in the main deck. And then we're playing 2 Akshan, so 4 energy, 4 might, Weapon Master. You may pay 2 power as an additional cost to play me. When you play me, if you pay the additional cost, move an enemy gear to your base. You control it until I leave the board. If it's an equipment, attach it to me. So this is a really good card. I mean, it's a really good card depending on the deck you're playing against. Like against some decks, it's not going to do anything. Against other decks, like for example Dazzling Aurora, is going to do a lot. And then like if we run into like a deck that plays the 7-drop yellow gear, we can just take control of that as well. So yeah, really good card, but in some matchups it doesn't really do anything. But okay, that is going to be the deck list. This deck is called Trinity. So I mean, the Trinity is kind of these 2 cards and then any unit. Ideally the Rune Runner, but it also works wonders with the Lucian, and it works with the Kaisa, and yeah, just a lot of the cards here. So yeah, we're gonna jump into some games to see the deck in action. I really hope you enjoy them, and I will see you at the end for the wrap-up. So we're playing some Lucian, and the first game is gonna be against the Yasuo. We are on the Treasure Hoard, and our opponent is on the Zon Warrens. So let's see how this goes. Our opponent is going first. He's gonna lead off with a Tide Turner. We're gonna lead off with a Pariporo, or are we gonna lead off with a Lucian? Yeah, we decided to go with the Lucian just to be energy efficient. We don't really want to leave an energy up if we can't use it on anything. He's going to conquer with a Tide Turn and then just use the Yasuo ability to move it back, play a Treasure Hunter, and then pass to us. We are going to conquer with the Lucian, get a gold, move him back from his own ability, and then play a Kaisa. So we are setting ourselves up for the next turn here. Okay, attacks with the Treasure Hunter, gets a gold from that. He gets another gold from the Treasure Hoard battlefield. So he's got 2 gold currently. Yeah, the gold generation is really good for Yasuo. He's going to conquer with a Tide Turner on the Zon Warrens, discard a Ride the Wind, okay. Well, it's good to get that out. And then he's going to use the Yasuo ability to move the Treasure Hoarder back, or the Treasure Hunter back, get another gold, and he's going to play a Heart of Dark Ice, okay, so another Heart Believer here. We're going to conquer with the Kaiser, draw into a Longsword. We also decide to use the Treasure Hoard ability, get a gold of that. We do have the combo in hand, we do have both the Skyfall and the Trinity Force in hand, so we decide to play out the Trinity Force. And we decide to equip it to the Kaisa, give her a plus, and then we attack with the Lucian into the Tide Turner, and we move him back, discard a Pariport, draw into another Longsword, and then pass back to us again. So we do have the Longsword in hand, in case he wants to attack into the Kaisa. He plays another Heart of Dark Eyes. So that Treasure Hunter is now 7. But yeah, we just decided to go for the Relentless Pursuit here on the Zon Warrens, and he's gonna Rebuke. Okay, that's fine. We are getting him to spend the cards in his hand. He does get the Conqueror off the Treasure Hunter here. I mean, that does slow us down quite a bit, but we also have the Lucian on board. Okay, it just uses the Yasuo to move the Treasure Hunter back again. Now here, we can go off, because we can equip both the Skyfall and the Trinity Force to the Lucian. We make him a 7, conquer the Treasure Hoard, get 2 points off that, use the Lucian ability, and play out this first mate, ready him again, and then move to the Zon Warrens. Go to 7 points. So we were at 3 points at the beginning of the turn, now we're at 7 points, which is quite insane. And we have 3 Kaisers in hand and a 7-might Lucian, so if he wants to take care of this Lucian, then I mean, it does have the Heart of Dark Eyes, so if he just wants to trade into that, then he can by just giving the pump to the Treasure Hunter. But if he doesn't do anything other than that, then we're going to be able to just win on the spot here. Okay, attacks with that, the 7-might Treasure Hunter. I mean, okay, we're fine with that, he just trades. Because now we can just play the Kaisa, and then equip her with both the gears, and then just attack into the battlefield that is empty. And then we just get the win. Okay, he plays this Ezreal. He discards a Tide Turner. He plays a Cold Shot. 2 Cold Shots. He attacks with the Ezreal, gets a point. Oh, he discards the Scrap Heap, gets 2 draws, and then he plays the Overzealous Fan. And okay, we can attack into both battlefields, but we don't have to, because we have the gears. And our opponent realizes that as well, and it's like, oh wait, you just win. And we're like, yeah, we do. We just equip both of these gears to the first mate here, go conquering, and yeah, I mean, we get 2 points, or we get 1 point actually. So yeah, that is kind of what we want the deck to do. We didn't get the Rune Runner here, but as you can see, the kind of Skyfall and Trinity Force combo almost works better on the Lucian actually. So yeah, really sick combo. We went from 3 points to 7 points in 1 round. So yeah, this combo is just lethal. And game 2 is going to be against Viktor. We are again on the Treasure Hoard. Our opponent is on the Vilemoth's Lair. Okay, that is going to be annoying for the Lucian because that means he can't move back. But let's see how this goes. We are again on the draw here, or on not the play. The draw doesn't really make sense in Riftbound because we both draw on the first turn. Okay, he plays a recruit on the first turn. We decide to, yeah, we're just going to play out the Lucian. Be energy efficient again. We don't really want to just play out the Gem Dammer and then just losing the ability. Okay, he plays out a 0 drive. Okay, he's a 0 drive believer, and then he just makes a recruit. So I mean, this is going to be a very comfortable turn for us. Yeah, it decides to just not attack because that recruit is going to die to the Lucian anyways. Okay, we draw into the Relentless Pursuit. Now that could be really good for us. We get a point. We decide to make a token with the Lucian, move him back, and then just play out a Kai'Sa. Yeah, we could have attacked with the Kai'Sa as well, but we don't really want to get got by him having like a pump spell or something, because the Kai'Sa is pretty important to us. Okay, he plays the Jinx. That is a card that I really want to try out in Garen, because I think Garen gets a lot better with that card. But okay, attacks, he gets a gold, and he makes another recruit. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing we love more than just having our opponent tap out like they did now. And then we draw the Serrated Dirk. Now, so the Serrated Dirk is going to let us very cleanly just attack over this Jinx. Okay, we attack with the Kai'Sa, we draw into a card. Okay, we draw into the sword here. And so now we have both the sword and the Trinity in hand again. We can't equip them both on this turn because we do need 1 extra energy to equip the sword. Okay, so we decide to play out the Trinity Force, make Lucian a 5. They'll play out the Serrated Dirk, equip him as well. And then he's going to be a 9 on attack because of the assaults from the legend ability. And yeah, I mean, he can't really do anything about that, but the Jinx is going to get banished. So if we allow this game to go long enough, then he is going to be able to attack back at us with that. So let's see here. We do have the Relentless Pursuit up, so if he's able to take care of one of these units, then we can potentially just use a Relentless Pursuit, move the one that's surviving into the battlefield that he just took care of, hopefully like kill whatever's left there and then just get a point. Okay, he plays a hard cast a Consult the Past, draws 2, and then he plays a Hidden Blade. Okay, that's fine. Yep, we get 2 draws off. And now we have the opportunity to use the Relentless Pursuit here, because he is tapped out, so we use the Relentless Pursuit, move the Kai'Sa over to the recruit, we equip it with the Trinity Force, so now we're going to get a point from both the Conqueror and the Hold. I mean, he's tapped out, so we can't do anything about this. Yeah, that is the danger of spending all of your energy before you attack, because now we know that he doesn't have anything. He's going to hide a card that is probably another Hidden Blade, I would assume. And we're going to get 2 points for holding. So we're going to go to 6 here. And then we do have the Gem Dammer in case we just want to slam that into the recruit. But we don't really want to get Hidden Bladed. But that is something we could do, because we do have another Kai'Sa as well. We decide to play out the Lucian, equip the Trinity Force to the Lucian, play Skyfall, equip that as well to the Lucian. So now we're ready to win the game on the following turn, because we can go from 6 to 8 points in 1 attack. So that is kind of our game plan here. Our opponent hasn't really had anything. I mean, we've been very aggressive this game, so our opponent hasn't really had time to have anything. But he's going to get a point for holding and a point for conquering there. He's going to get a gold. The 0 drive hasn't really done much. He only has 1 Jinx under there. He plays a little Plundering Poro and he plays a recruit. He culls the weaks. Well, thank God we have that Kai'Sa, so we don't have to discard our Lucian. And then he passes back to us, and I mean, this is probably going to be the game, because even if he doesn't, like, even if he gets rid of this, we still have another Kai'Sa, so we can just do this exact thing one more time. Let's see what he does. He has the Hidden Blade. Okay, that's fine. The Lucian dies. But we just play the Kai'Sa, and we do the same thing again. We equip both equipments to the Kai'Sa, go conquering, get 2 points off of that, and that is a GG. Yeah, I mean, so far this combo is working really well. We're not really seeing the Rune Runner, but as you can see, like, this game we were really aggressive, and the Rune Runner kind of he's kind of built for a different type of tempo. So in this version, I don't think the Rune Runner is going to be that impactful because he's just so slow. But in another deck, I can really see that card shine because that ability is really powerful. And depending on the meta you're facing, that just could break some decks that like they just can't get rid of it. So yeah, but so far this combo is working really well. And for the third game, we are playing against a Jinx. We are on the Pepper Tree. Our opponent is on the Zon Warrens. As you can see, I was a bit late at hitting the play button or the record button, so we already played our first 2 turns. But our opponent played the Overzealous Fan, I played a Lucian, and I passed to him, and this is where we're now at. So let's see how this goes. And I'm actually playing against a friend of mine in this game. So that was fun. He was playing a very experimental Jinx list, but it was very sweet as well. Okay, so he attacks into the Zon Warrens, gets a point. He discards a Rebuke. Okay, well, I mean, we don't really mind seeing that go. And then he plays out a Treasure Hunter and a Noxus Hopeful. A pretty solid start for him, I must say. Pretty solid start. We draw into the Relentless Pursuit. Not going to do anything here, but we do have the Piercing Light. And this is what I was talking about. Like here, we probably would have done the same thing if we had the Falling Star. But now we managed to do the same thing with 1 power instead of 2 power. And that is really significant, especially in the early game. We go get 1 point. I'm kind of considering what to discard here. We discard the first mate. And then we move him back, and then we play out the other Lucian. And then pass back to him. So I mean, the red Lucian doesn't really do much here, because we don't have any equipment in our hand. He attacks with an Auction Hopeful into the Zon Warrens. Gets a discard, he discards the Treasure Hunter. And then he plays out a Ferrous Forerunner. Okay, so that is a very dangerous card. The Ferrous Forerunner is one of the stronger cards that have come out in the set. He hides a card as well, okay. That's very interesting. We draw into the Poro, that doesn't really do anything for us here. Yeah, our hand is very weird, we don't have any pump except for the Punch First, but that is very expensive. But I mean, we might end up just having to use it here. Yeah, we'll play out the Gem Dimer on the Illusion. So now we're kind of just betting on him not having the Fight or Flight hidden. We attack there, we get a point, and then we do use the Punch First, because then we can probably swing over the Noxus Hopeful. Punch First, that goes to an 8. Attacking the Auction Hopeful, and is it a Fight or Flight? It is not. Okay, it's an Edge of Night, so that is just going to get him to a 6, so that's not going to do anything. Then we get another point, we discard the Poro, draw into another Poro, so that's sweet. And then we passed him. Okay, so we do have the Relentless Pursuit here, which is nice, so in case he attacks into that, we can just use that to move into the other battlefield and hopefully get another point. Okay, use the Cold Shot. Double Cold Shot. So he currently has 2 energy floating. Yeah, Cold Shot is very good, but it's not as good when you don't have the Ezreal out. Or a Seal, for that matter. Okay. Then it's gonna Falling Star. So now he also has 2 energy floating. And he actually decides to Falling Star both the Illusion in the back and the Gem Dammer, because I mean, he's thinking of attacking into the final Illusion with the Ferrous Forerunner, which makes sense. But we have the Relentless Pursuit. So that is actually not gonna go the way he hopes. Hopefully. I guess he could have something like a Gust. So he bottoms a rune there to use the Edge of Night. We just Reckless Pursuit, move the Lucian into the Paper Tree. Or we try to at least. And then he gets the Ferrous Forerunner to conquer. He discards another Ferrous Forerunner. Okay, we get a point as well. And then we decide to, you know what, we don't have to move him back. We can just sit here. Because we do want that extra energy, because I mean, he's on 1 energy and we're on 3, so we're both really hellbent at this point. He had to spend a lot of energy and a lot of power to get rid of our stuff this turn. Which, I mean, we're happy about, but we also had to spend quite a lot, so we're gonna be really happy if we can get this hold so we can get an extra rune. Plays a Chemtech Enforcer, discards a Stack Deck, and then he plays the Battering Ram. Okay, that's funny, that's a very interesting card. I mean, he played a lot of cards this turn, so he actually manages to play that out. I mean, I think he also had like excess energy to do that. But I mean, that is a good beater. I think it's a really hard card to build a deck around, but he, like my friend, had a really interesting idea where you can kind of combine it with the Seals and like the Cold Shot that doesn't cost anything, and also hidden cards. Because hidden cards, when you play those, they also count towards that Battering Ram count. If you don't know what that does, then it says that for each card you've played this turn, they cost 1 less, to a minimum of 1. So it could be a 1 energy 5 might unit, which is of course incredible, but it does require a significant build around. And I think that is kind of what he was going for here, so it's a really interesting build, and he actually managed to play it out as well. But okay, we are holding. So we do get an extra rune here. Our opponent also gets a rune. We play out the Poro. Okay, I guess he didn't want that rune. And I mean, we just move back. He plays a stacked deck. Okay. Tries to find something here. Yeah, our opponent should have been on 1 extra rune here. I guess he forgot. I guess I was just too focused on my own game plan to notice him. So we have the potential to attack into something he's conquering here. So he's conquering with the battering ram. Now we could have used a relentless pursuit and then cleaved the Lucian to like attack into that. But if we did that, then he could have just attacked us back with the Chemtech Enforcer, because the Chemtech gets assault. So that would have been a really bad trade for us. So he plays out the Overzealous Fan. And what's nice about the Poro is that we can just attack with that, and then he has to use the Overzealous Fan, or just let the Overzealous Fan die. I mean, either way, it makes it so that we can just cleanly attack with the Lucian here. That is going to be 6-5 because of the cleave. And we decide to move back, and then just play out the Draven, and then we do have the Relentless Pursuit in hand. So now we're thinking like, okay, so here's our plan. He has the Chemtech, and then he also has the Jinx. If he attacks with the Chemtech, we're going to use the Relentless Pursuit to move the Draven in, give him a pump with the ability, make him a 6, and then hopefully he doesn't have a cleave or something like that, so we're going to be able to take care of the Chemtech Enforcer. And then what he can do is then he can play out the Jinx, attack with the Jinx, and if he does that, since that's another combat, then we can use the Draven ability again to make him an 8, so the Jinx can actually attack into us. So that is kind of our thought process here, because a lot of people don't think about the fact that you can use the Draven twice. Okay, it does do that. He gets the point immediately, but we're like, no, we're gonna Relentless Pursuit you. Yeah, this signature spell is just so good. Oh my gosh. And the fact that the Draven gets the ability on both defense and offense, and now since we won a combat, we get a gold off of that as well. We do get the point. Yeah, we are looking really good here. And now we're basically just hoping that he plays out the Jinx. And I mean, even if he doesn't play out the Jinx, then this Lucian is gonna be, no, this Draven is gonna be really hard to get rid of now. Okay, so now he plays out the Jinx, and then he has to discard the last 2 cards, and now we're nowhere else. Okay, well, we're safe. Okay, attacks with that, he gets +2 from the assault, we use the Draven ability, makes him an 8, and then yeah, the Jinx is just gonna die from that. And we get the point for holding. So we actually managed to win this game without using any equipments, which is kind of funny because we kind of built it to abuse the 2 big equipments we have in the deck. But as you can see, this deck can also win without any equipments, and it's a big thanks to the the Lucian signature spell. Yeah, the Relentless Pursuit is just an insane card, and we really saw the power of that here. Of course, it does get a lot worse when you run into like counter spells and stuff, because that kind of shuts down your whole game plan, but that is just the game. If you run into those decks, then you have to be a bit more careful about how you play those. Yeah, but if you can get them through like now, because the thing is that you move your unit, so it's kind of like a ride the wind. But what makes it a lot better is that you can move the unit back as well, so you protect him as well. And then if you want to, you can keep him there, but you have the option to move him back in case you're afraid of your opponent attacking into him with something else. So the flexibility there is just so powerful. And for game 4, we are playing against a Draven. We are on the paper tree again, and our opponent is on the treasure hoard. So both battlefields we like to see, and let's see how this goes. Yeah, we have a Kiana here. I played a Kiana in the beginning, but I just found that the power cost just makes it really uncomfortable to play on turn 2. So in that case, I just rather wanted the Kai'Sa, because the card draw is kind of what we want from that. I mean, the extra rune is nice as well, but if we do that, then we kind of just get back the rune we spent to play her out. So I actually decided to not play the Kiana anymore. We're also playing the Angle Shot, which I played for a while, but I just don't think it does enough in this deck. But okay, attacks with the Overzealous Fan that he just played. We played out the Illusion Champion. We couldn't really play anything else here. He gets a gold, and he passes us with 3 energy up, which is pretty scary. But let's see what he has here. We drew into the Trinity Force, so we have 2 pieces of the puzzle already. That is a Trinity Force plus a unit, so now we only need the last one. Okay, we play out the Trinity, attach it to the Illusion here. Gonna try to conquer the paper tree. He is gonna fight or flight. Yeah, like fight or flight and rebuke and those kinds of cards are kind of those are kind of the cards that beat us, because they just shut down our whole game plan. Especially in the early game, because now we have the first man in hand, but we don't have enough to play him out. Then he uses Ride the Wind on the Overzealous Fan. He gets another point there. Yeah, so he is being really aggressive this game. And then he plays out a Draven. I mean, we do have the tools to take care of both of those here, but that is going to be really expensive, because we have to spend both gears, and then we also have to spend the first mate. Okay, we are going to try to do that. We're going to equip the Serrated Dirk here. Attack with Illusion. That's a 9. Yep, he moves that back, and then we can play the first mate. And attack with the Illusion again. So we do get the kill here. which is nice. Now we are equipped with the Trinity Force, so we can potentially hold here as well. And that is what we're gonna do. So we can do that. We also have the Relentless Pursuit, so we can potentially move into the Treasure Hoard in case he wants to attack us back. And then we also have the Longsword in case we need some extra protection. He plays out another Overzealous Fan, okay. And then he has a Darius. Okay, that is currently 7. And then he just passes. Okay, that's good. So we get the 2 points for holding. We get the extra rune as well. We remind our opponent that he also gets a rune. Yeah, okay, so that's nice. That's nice. We get that point. That is very important. Because that allows us to go to 4 points here. And that is kind of where we want to be. We want to be on even points. We do use the battlefield to get an extra gold. We of course move the illusion back. And then here we decide to, you know, we can play out the counter here. That's a comfortable spot to do that in. But I mean, this first mate is gonna die, so we just have to kind of live with that. Yeah, that's dead. He gets a point, and he plays the Overzealous Fan in there. Yeah, the Overzealous Fan is such an annoying card. Now we can't seem to find the Piercing Light either. So we get the Pouty Poro. We decide to attack with the Kiana first to get a draw off. Yep, we get a point as well, of course. We go to 5. And I mean, we can't really take care of this Draven here because he has the Overzealous Fan, and I mean, we do have the Relentless Pursuit, so we can potentially do that as well. But he has so many cards in hand, so the odds of him having something here are really high. So we decide to try to do that, and he has Rebuke. Yeah, Rebuke is going to be able to do it. That is going to be able to save that. We play out the Illusion, equip him to the Serrated Dirk because we want to equip the Trinity Force to the Kiana. Because she has the ability to hold here, and then we can't really do anything else. Yeah, this is kind of where the Serrated Dirks feel really bad because they can't do anything on defense. Then he plays a Brynir. I mean, that doesn't really do anything for us here because we're gonna play out the double longswords anyways. So I mean, he has to play something else out, and then unless he has a Cleave, then the Darius is not gonna be able to take care of us. Okay, he plays a Spinning Axe that is the same as a Cleave, so that is gonna be a 10. Does he have anything else? Okay, he has a Cleave as well. Yeah, that is the problem with the Draven because he draws so many cards. And a lot of his cards are so cheap as well, so the odds of him having the cards he needs are really high. We draw into the Skyfall. So that is very interesting here. We can potentially just attack into this Darius. He does have 2 energy up, so if that's a Fight or Flight, then we're pretty cooked. But we try anyways. We equip the Skyfall here. We equip the Trinity Force, that is a 5, and then 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 on attack. That's gonna be 10 to 8 because the Darius is not a 10 anymore, he's an 8. Okay, so we go like this. Does he have the Fight or Flight? He has to ride the Wind. Okay, well, I mean, that is basically just as bad. Like, if we had a Gem Dammer here, then we could have won, because then we could have ganked into the other battlefield. So our only hope now is just hopefully make it so that he can attack into the Draven, because we are quite bigger, we're 11. But he plays out a Longsword, and then he just makes the Draven into a 10, and then he probably has something else here. Yeah, another Longsword. Yeah, that's just gonna be the game. If we had a Gem Dammer there, if we top like that, then we could have won. I mean, essentially we were 1 card off. But I mean, as you saw, the Rebukes and the Fight or Flights, those cards really set us back. We can't really do anything about that. We decide to angle shot the Spinning Axe, but he has the Hard Bargain. Yeah, the purple counterspell is... I'm not really used to playing around that yet. But yeah, we lose here. Yeah, that is kind of the power of the Draven. Like, the Overzealous Fan with the Draven, like, we took care of the Overzealous Fan, but whenever we do that interaction, he draws a card. And then he also gets a gold. So Draven is just really good at keeping like hand advantage and also just getting value off of every single trade he makes. And yeah, that is just how the game goes sometimes. And for the final game, we are playing against our friend the Jinx player again. We are on the Arena's Greatest, and our opponent is on the Emperor's Die, which is a really interesting battlefield. It's an interesting way to kind of protect your Jinx, because the Jinx is really good at attacking, not as good as defending. Or not as good at defending, I should say. But okay, we play out the Pouty Poro here. We do have a Draven, Lucian, and a Falling Star in hand. So this is a sideboarded game, as you can see, because we have the Falling Stars. So let's see if it comes in handy. Okay, he plays out a Noxus Hopeful. We attack with a Poro, and then we just play out the Draven. We could have played the Draven into the battlefield as well, but we'd rather attack into the battlefield that he attacks into. Be that the arena's greatest or the Emperor's die here. It's probably gonna be the greatest because he can kill our unit that way. Yep, he attacks there. We don't have any energy up, so we just let that go. And then he plays out the Jinx. Okay, that is really good for us. Okay, I plays the Flame Chompers and then attacks with the Jinx. Yep. Then he's gonna use the Emperor die to move the Jinx back to hand to create a Sand Soldier there. So that is an interesting way to kind of save your Jinxes. It might be a bit greedy for the Jinx because the Jinx requires 2 power every time you play her out. So you're just never gonna like evolve your power that way. Okay, we Falling Star 2 units here. Then because he bounced the Jinx back, we're actually able to Falling Star there, so he actually lost his Switcheroo, which he had hidden, which is a really good card against, I mean, anything basically. And then we play the Serrated Dirk. We attack with the Draven onto the Noxus Hopeful here. We get a gold. And then we play out the red Lucian, and then we pass to him. We know he has a Jinx in hand, and in case he wants to play that out. Okay, it does. So we could potentially use the Lucian ability to like give him a power and then just trade it with the Jinx here. But we don't have to, because since we have the Lucian with the Serrated Dirk, we can actually just attack with this and the Serrated Dirk into that, and that is going to have 4 assault because of the legend ability as well. And then we could just shoot the Jinx. So we don't actually have to trade with her, which is really nice. Then we join to the Trinity Force as well. So we can potentially also try to hold here. We're going to shoot that. Yes sir, kill her. We got a 4 points. Which is exactly where we want to be. We play out the Draven into the base here. And we passed him. So we could have played the Trinity Force as well there. But in case he had something to take care of Illusion, then we wouldn't have any units on our following turn. So that is why we did it like this. And then we draw the Rune Runner. He's a bit late to the party, but that is kind of what he does. We do get a hold with Illusion. So we go to 6 points here. We can play out the Rune Runner. Rune Runner, yes we do. And then we pass to him. The Draven here is of course very difficult to get rid of. He can do it if he wants to, but then it's going to be really easy for us to just win on the next turn. Okay, he does attack with that. We decide to just kill the Noxus Hopeful. I mean, they're both as big now, but the Chemtech Enforcer is smaller on defense. So that is just a correct play there. Okay, plays out or uses the battlefield again and back the Sand Soldier. Not necessarily a bad idea, because you can play the Chemtech into the Flame Chompers. That's not bad. And then he attacks like that. But the Lucian. So we play out the Trinity Force, equip the Trinity Force to the Lucian. We make that a 9 on attack, 9 with a 4 damage shoot here. So that is going to shoot that 3 might, and then he's going to have only 7 might left. We're going to be able to conquer, and then we're going to win the game with the Rune Runner. Wait, let me just go back there. And as you saw, we won with the Rune Runner. I mean, didn't really do anything today, but I mean, he won the last game, so that is kind of where we got full circle here. So yeah, this is again against my friend. So we actually did play best of 3 here, and I lost one of them. But you know, it is my video, so I choose the 2 games where I win, of course, because we can't have anyone else taking my crown here. But yeah, you really see the power of the Lucian here with the Serrated Dirk especially, because in that last trade-off, like this was supposed to be a 9-9. So he has 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, and we're also 9. But because of the Lucian ability, we're just able to shoot off one of those units, and then we can just trade over everything else. So this card is really good, but I mean, if you're gonna play the Lucian Gunslinger, you really need to run the Serrated Dirk, I think, because just getting that assault off the legend ability is not gonna matter much. But yeah, I really like the Lucian Gunslinger in the deck. In this version of the deck, I prefer having the orange Lucian in the champion zone, just because he synergizes with a lot more of our deck. Like the red Lucian is pretty situational. Whereas the orange Lucian is this really good card in general to have in the champion zone, and a really good card to have just on turn 1 if you go on second. As you saw in those, I mean, in basically every game we played today. So yeah, this deck is really fun. But the Rune Runner is, I mean, it's a cool card, but this is probably not the correct deck for him. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is gonna be the Trinity deck. Lucian is really fun. I actually, like, when the Lucian got revealed, and I kind of talked about him as in my initial reactions video, I didn't really know what to make of this card. But after seeing these 2 gears, I was kind of like, okay, that is what I'm gonna try first. Like, these 2 gears in combination are just so powerful, and you saw like that first game, we were able to go from 3 points to 7 points in 1 attack, or in 2 attacks I guess, but in 1 turn. Which, I mean, you shouldn't be able to do that. And I mean, the Rune Runner, I really wanted to make this card work. And I think there is definitely a place for this card, but I don't think this deck, or at least not this version of the deck, is the deck for him. Because, like, the rest of the deck leans very heavily into like an aggressive game plan. Like, even though we have these kind of expensive equipments. Like, we can just play this out and equip it to some of our early drops and then just go swinging from there. And the Ruin Runner doesn't really support that because it costs 6 energy to play out. It doesn't enter accelerated, and unless we're on like 9 runes, then we can't play this out and like ready with the first mate. But I am gonna try to make it work at some point, but maybe not. Not today at least. And yeah, I mean, Kai'Sa is an incredible card. We all know that already. We didn't really get the combo with the Skyfall here, but that is a thing we can do. You also saw we used to play the Kiana in the deck to have another synergy with the Skyfall, but again, like Kiana, it's so bad to pay that power on turn 1. And if we attack with her and we decide to ramp with her, then we're just going to get the power back that we used to play her out. So we just go even. And that because we could have just played the Kai'Sa instead to draw on a card. So I much prefer the Kai'Sa, and I mean, until we get more solid on-hold or on-conquer triggers in these colors, then I think this is just going to be our only payoff for playing the sword besides the Trinity. And that is also why I play the sword as a 2-of and the Trinity as a 3-of, because the Trinity always works, and the sword just works sometimes, or the Skyfall only works sometimes when we have either this or the Kai'Sa, but I mean, mostly it's there for this one. So yeah, but also like the Piercing Light felt really good on the deck to just, I mean, it does the same thing as a Falling Star, but just not having to pay that extra power just feels really good, because a lot of the units we're trying to actually take out with this are 2 might. I also like the Gem Jammer, but I mean, it realistically only synergizes with the Lucian Merciless, because that readies himself. We can of course play this onto everything else if we manage to hold, but as this deck is not as good at holding, that is not going to be something we're going to be able to do a lot of the time. So most of this is just going to be a piece for the Lucian, but it is nice to just have a card you can play on turn 1 and then potentially it might do something else later on in the game, you know. So I do still like it as a 3-of. But yeah, that is going to be the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you in the next one. But until then, take care and bye bye.